Hey everyone, Perry here with another Collider interview right here in Park City at the Kia Supper Suite. We're with the folks behind the movie The Night House, which I had the pleasure of seeing last night, and I still think, like my whole body is shaking from certain audio stingers you're going to get to experience real soon. First off, huge congratulations on the movie. Thank you for being here today. David, I have to start with you here because a lot of folks out there do not know what The Night House is yet, so I have to ask you, I'm sure you're doing this over and over. Can you give them the brief 101?
Yeah. Well, I think on its surface, it is a story about a recent widow who begins to dig into the unexpected death of her husband and uncover his dark secrets.
Ooh. I love how you did that without giving like a single stitch of the story away. That was great. Rebecca, when you get a script like this, are you instantly hooked and you're in, or is there any intimidation factor? Because I told you before, you're phenomenal in this movie, but this seems like a lot to me.
Yeah, it was a lot. I was definitely trepidatious. I think there's one scene at the beginning with the parent. The character is a school teacher, and a parent comes in, and when I read that scene in the script, I was pretty much hooked, just because I've realized at that point that this character had a lot of humor and was quite unusual for a heroine in a ghost story, and was also had this sort of unusual beginning in that she's extremely angry and wronged, and she's looking for something to kind of explain how she's got to this. And I think that's a very different place for a character in a horror movie to be. And I was instantly excited from that scene. And then I was pretty much like, I'm on board from there.
That scene is key to getting you hooked. I was actually going to ask you about the characters' reactions to everything, because that's something that kept me on my toes from start to finish. I never knew whether she was going to snap back, whether she was terrified, whether she was just emotionally drained from the situation. So what kind of conversations did the two of you have before jumping into a scene? Do you plan that out specifically, or is it any of you feeling it in the moment?
I think we were winging it just a bit on this one. No, I mean, the whole thing felt like a tightrope. I mean, for me, the character of Beth is someone that, while I relate in some ways to what she's going through, and there are moments of the movie where I was able to, fill her shoes and, be in perfect step with her, a lot of times she's confrontational in a way, or responding to something in a way that she kind of gets ahead of you. She's kind of out in front. So sometimes the experience of watching the movie is like less like you're with her, and more like you're watching someone that you care about kind of teeter on the edge of a cliff or something. So to a large degree, I just we would go into these scenes, and Rebecca would have an impulse for something, and we would try it, and we would get it on camera and see where it took us, But I felt like I was flying blind more than I have on anything that I've done. Yeah.
You don't get that sense when you're watching it. Very random question, but I have to ask, what are you drinking the entire time? I always get stressed out when I see someone having to either drink or eat a lot in a movie.
Drinking from that brandy bottle? Yeah.
Well,
I think it was iced tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sick of iced tea now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Also, haven't developed a taste for brandy, so
Evan, I wanted to ask you a little bit about playing a character who is more so a presence in the movie. What were kind of the most challenging things about a role like that?
A lot of it was really just really strange. I mean, it was the strangest things I've ever done as an actor. So, but David showed me this like
always terrifying for a director to hear. By the way, when you were coming off set, you're like, "This is the weirdest thing I've ever done, dude."
But David showed me this like thing that really sort of clarified it and really helped articulate what he wanted in terms of state and tone, which was this super crazy, weird Mark Twain claymation. That Google it. It's the creepiest thing. It's made for kids. Just Google it. But it was a really strange state to sort of live in, and it was a really cool challenge in that way, because when else am I ever going to get to do that?
And you're doing the voice work for the role too, right?
Well, actually, it's my voice in whispers, and
it's mine too.
Yeah. So it's like they took a bunch of different
Mine.
clips. and layered and mixed
You're
up.
freaking
Did you
out.
see like something click in my head?
Yeah.
I love that. I can't wait to rewatch it now. Stacey, I also wanted to ask you because you pop up in a very pivotal moment in the movie, and you're a great source of information also. And I know that can be a little challenging to deliver in a way that feels really human too, while getting the points across. So, what was it like doing some of those meatier dialogue-heavy scenes?
Unexpected, actually, because I really didn't know. I mean, you'd started the shoot already, and so I arrived and was just totally taken by what Rebecca was doing with the character, that actually a lot of it was also reacting to her kind of weird traits and how she would ask certain questions, but also it was about maybe not being that normal and not being that real, and so always kind of dipping in and out of something that is very realistic, but also something that's also kind of a bit odd, but you can't quite put your finger on it. David told me at some point that my character might not be real. I was like, oh, that's terrifying, and I'm now never going to sleep again, but thank you. And that did help a lot.
Something you brought up last night before the movie even screened really got in my head, and I'm kind of curious what you all think about it. Excuse me if I express this wrong, but something like, is it scarier that the ghosts could exist, or scarier the thought that maybe they don't and there is nothing? Just where do you guys fall on that? What do you find scarier? Do you believe ghosts are out there?
I'll speak to that. I mean, I really think this is what's fascinating about the film, is because both things can exist, and whichever you personally find scarier, it's going to work on either level. I haven't had any experiences of ghosts, so I don't necessarily think that, but one of my sort of primal fears is of losing my mind. So the idea that they don't when you believe they do is equally scary to me.
Yeah, I think the scene for me that really maybe the reason I knew that I had to make this movie, and I the thing that I looked forward to the most was the scene where Beth kind of reveals her history and talks a little bit on that topic about what she experienced or maybe what she had seen, and I just found that incredibly chilling. And I guess for me, I don't know. I don't really deal with it much. Reading the script kind of brought it back to the surface and sort of forced you to kind of think about the afterlife and confront it in a way that it does genuinely frighten me. Yeah.
Same boat?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, like I've had some weird experiences, so
Wait, you can't say that and not tell me a story.
Well, I just had like a weird experience, like of something, a presence, like in a situation that like made something happen, and I was really startled by it, and I was like, oh, that's odd, and and I think it's fair to say that nobody really knows, like that our notion of consciousness and like what we are tapped into, we don't really have any clue, right? There's no working theory, and so like it's just a big question mark. And I think that's what makes the film really cool, is because especially last night was my second time watching the film, and upon second viewing, the interpretations around that question that David poses at the beginning of it is really fascinating and really makes you start to put the puzzle together in a much different way, and made it really engaging, more so the second time around.
David, you've done so many different forms of horror at this point. I'm curious, is there any kind of subgenre within horror that you're looking to tackle next?
I mean, I think after this, I'd love to do something that maybe exists in a solid, finite reality. I think I've gotten a healthy dose of the surreal for now, but yeah, maybe something a little more thriller-based.
Give me a slasher movie. I can't get enough of them.
Yeah, a slasher movie would be great.
Well, I have to let you go. You have a lot of press to do today for The Night House, which, guys, keep an eye out for it. I can't quite shake it, and now, based on this conversation, I can't wait to see it again even more. Huge congratulations to you all. Thank you so much for being here. Big thanks to the Kia Telluride Supper Suite for having us here. Do not leave this interview without liking and sharing it. We're going to see you soon with more interviews from Park City.